Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Pastor Buesiben Agape of the Center for Research in Igbo History and Culture. And today is Friday, the 11th of December 2020. And I'm with Chief PIUS OKONKWO, the immediate past President General of UMUERI General Assembly, UGA. And we're going to share a few thoughts about our community, UMUERI. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much
for the opportunity to chat with you.
Pastor, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. And now, we are going to take this interview in two segments. We'll do a first segment on the background. Try to pick a few things. Ndị Igbo si na onye na-amara ka na-anọrọ ya mgbe eji nyozu ama ka eji ekwe ọ na-esi n'ụkwụ abọlụ maka na ọ nọrọ ya. And all the kwampa is very important also because another Igbo proverb says that if a person does not know where the rain started beating him, he will not know where it stops. So for that reason, I think it's necessary we take some background material before we proceed. Then we'll go to the second segment after a break. In the second segment, we are going to discuss about the contemporary issues in UMUERI. Now, I want to also, as a matter of background, discuss this. Maybe we'll take it as our first question. And that first question is this. What do you want out of this interview, Chief?
For the truth to be known. And for...
Before you go on, since it is two of us and we're having a chat, it's not an inquisition, it's not a judgment. So it is you and myself chatting about our common heritage and issues that affect you and myself also. So before I ask you that question, what you want out of this interview, maybe I should start by saying what I personally want out of it, since I'm not being paid. So money is not a motivation yet. I'm spending my energy and putting everything on the line for it. There must be something that I want out of it. And that thing that I want out of this, the reason I'm having in this interview, is that there is an issue, we cannot deny it, in our community. And in that issue, there are basically two camps that interest us for now. One is the camp of His Majesty, His Royal Majesty Igbesaben Emeka. And on the other side, this might not be a very legalistic separation, but roughly on the other side, there is yourself.
If you say so, yeah.
Yes, that's the attitude from which I am coming. It might be slightly right or slightly wrong. But there is yourself. We're talking about how it concerns me. Now, it is, let me say, an issue between, on the one side, His Majesty Igbesaben Emeka Okebo II of UMUERI, who happens to be my benefactor. He has made himself my friend. He's my traditional ruler. So naturally, his interest is my interest because he has identified powerfully with me. His interest is my interest. His victory is my victory. And also his loss will be my loss. But then on the other hand, there is yourself. And you are my blood brother. You are my blood brother.
That's right.
My relation, no matter the relationship I have with Majesty, can never approach to the one I have with you. You are my blood brother. You are my father. If I have a problem, it is you I will I will beckon on. Maybe when my daughters want to marry now, you might be the one that's going to sit and collect, do the traditional things. We are that close. Yeah. So again, your victory is my victory, and your loss is my loss. So my position is that, as they say, between two extreme ends, tail, I lose. Head, I lose. So I'm sandwiched between the two opposing parties. Thank God there is a third force, the UMUERI people. And so there is you, there is Digbe, and then there is UMUERI, which happens to be my own community and my heritage also. So luckily, I can escape into UMUERI. My attitude then is this: I'm not after your victory. Neither am I after your loss, nor after the victory of His Majesty, nor after his loss. But I'm after the victory of UMUERI, the land and the people of UMUERI. No matter how these things go, if UMUERI wins, I win. And if UMUERI loses, God forbid, I lose. So I stand in the place of the angel of the Lord at the plains of Jericho, who told Joshua, I'm not for you. I'm not for your adversaries. I am for God. So I seek the truth. I seek reconciliation. I seek peace, the advancement and the prosperity of our common heritage, the land and people of UMUERI. So, sir, what do you yourself seek in having this interview?
The truth. My interest, the truth. If you know the truth, truth has no ifs or buts about it. If you say the truth, that's it. Anybody that is playing with the truth is playing with the future of this town. And that is part of the problem that we are currently having. The truth. And what is that truth? If you want to dig in.
Let's not come to what the truth is for now. But we're talking about it will come. It will come. Yes, it will come naturally. But you are seeking the truth. And I want to point out the truth is a very fickle thing. It's a very dangerous thing.
No, depending on how your perspective.
It's a very subjective thing.
Everything is subjective.
And do you think that every truth must be told?
It's better told. Because if you don't,
yes,
then you are harboring a time bomb. Yes, if somebody commits a murder and you are hiding the facts.
Naturally, that is the case of a murder. Yes.
Yes. No, you can murder a town by your attitude. You can murder this town when you are holding people from exercising their franchise. You are indirectly murdering your town. To that extent. To that extent, man, you are not a patriot. You know, like you said, everything may be subjective or objective and all that, right?
Yes. Yes.
So we are talking about a common interest, UMUERI. We are not talking about employer-employee relationship.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Everybody is either employed, self-employed, or government employed, or privately employed. So it is not the case of employer-employee relationship. That is the mistake some people are making about this town. Especially the guy that was.
But sir, when you agree that the truth is subjective and fickle, and that this truth might always, do you think the truth will always bring the peace, the progress and advancements that we seek? Does sometimes wisdom not demand, like the four-way test? The Rotary Club have this four-way test of the things that we say and speak. He said, one, is it the truth? Yes. But he also goes to say, yeah, okay, now we concede it is the truth. But is it fair to all concerned? And will it bring the peace that we all seek?
The truth may not be fair to all concerned because there are perpetrators.
Yes.
All right? If you are on the side of being a perpetrator,
yes,
the truth will not favor you.
Yes. Yeah. Then if further goes to say, will that truth bring peace?
It depends on how you define peace. Because if you don't have the truth, if you have anything you call peace, it will be pseudo peace. It will not be. You can't define it.
It will not be real peace.
Pseudo will not be real.
It will not be real peace.
Yes, but when the thing is real, and it will be a general good. Okay, nobody will quarrel with that. But when you begin to mix apple and oranges, what would you call them? You know?
Okay, it's
so
all right.
that is the
So
point.
I just
my background, right?
Yes.
We are saying my background.
Not your background, the background to the matter, the
right,
background to the. Or would you like to share with us your background? Yes, I think that is
it's not
okay.
important.
Okay. I think I still agree that maybe my next question is about your background because certainly there is the issue of the background. Now you are the immediate past PG, President General of UMUERI General Assembly. So it means that you are kind of the president, the head of government.
That's correct, administration.
The head of government of UMUERI.
Yes.
For how long was that, sir?
4 years.
Okay, you served one term. Of four years.
Yes.
Of 4 years as PG
That's correct.
UMUERI. How would you assess your tenure as President General?
Well, I will, it's like if you are doing an arithmetic test, everybody that tests himself passes. But I will pinch few areas or touch on few areas where we think we did excellent job.
Now, I want a summary first. How would you assess?
Fair.
Fair.
Yes.
It would be fair. You would say fair.
Fair.
Pass mark. Or say, okay, done. Beautiful. So how did you come about that assessment? You were talking about
the
a number of
assessment
things.
has some points because you make points to progress.
Please.
For 20-something years, we didn't have a traditional ruler. At that time, no cock crowed. Not even the witches had the power to charm. So hallowed and so gracious was the time. The time we didn't have an Igwe. For those 22 years.
I want to concentrate on this particular question, on your 4 years as PG. I will come to before. I want to concentrate.
You cannot talk about the 4 years without the before. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we will talk about it. I've said this next question we're talking about the before.
Sense.
Okay then. All right then.
I said our achievements, right?
Yes.
For 20-something years, we didn't have an Igwe in this town, UMUERI.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So, one of the things we did was, in my manifesto, I told UMUERI people during the debate that we will make every effort to have an Igwe. It's like...
okay, it was a cardinal point in your manifesto.
Yes.
From the beginning.
From the beginning. That's why I said you have to touch it.
Yes.
And we were able, by unanimity of the executive and the cooperation of UMUERI people, we achieved it.
That's good.
And we made Saben, Emeka, the Igwe of UMUERI, Okebo too. That's a point. Then, the government of Anambra State dished out 2 segments of 20 million naira project. If you go to UMUERI, you will see one standing there. That is what we used to call Obuama. It's now the civic center.
Yes.
If you go to where you have your center for Igbo culture,
center for Eri House.
That's another pointer. Yes. Many communities got disintegrated because of that money. Yes. Who will handle it? Igwe did an excellent job. We have to give him that credit. It's into construction.
Okay.
So we allowed him whole hog without any iota of interest to deliver, because if it is delivered and delivered well, it is in the best interest of us, UMUERI people. So that's another pointer. Then holding the peace between our neighbors. There was no outright clash of like shooting guns or kidnapping people or something like that between Umuobanam and Aguleri, and of course Nsugbe. and then Teja, of course, So it is within that term that the airport also came, the airport.
Yes.
So that things that happen among you.
Yes.
It is that within that time also that the youths were making their own waves, their own way. So we can say that's why I said fair. It was fair. There was not much rancor within that time period. But towards the end, we came up with a list of 19 persons, hatched and planned by him and Emoyao, for us to form a committee equivalent of 30 men. That's a language every UMUERI person knows. A task force that will be maiming people.
What's the language you say every UMUERI person knows?
30 man.
30.
30
Are you saying the figure 30 is significant?
Yeah, significant because it was the same figure found by the same Emoyao and Co. that murdered a lot of people in this town.
There were 30 of them?
Starting from Emma Obala, Nnabo Joe, Nnabo Ugume, Ajie, Nei, and so on and so forth.
These people were murdered by the 30-man committee?
Yes. Yes, it is a known now. Ask any UMUERI person.
Okay.
They formed themselves into a government and they were raping people, taking people's property away. In this town, that is what Igwe and Emma planned, and they co-opted me in his house, not the town union house, to endorse. Then I took it to UGA for ratification. And the people of UMUERI said no, that they don't want this ugly thing to rear its head again. That is the dichotomy that is happening today. Nothing else. Igwe is one other more. That is, the mother comes from my own family at Mbago, Iruejo of a family. Okay? So, that's it. The next thing, he started writing petitions that we that made him are criminals, and wrote to Commissioner of Police and said that we shouldn't do our meetings preparatory to election. That is the problem. And wrote to Greg, the ministry. Then the commissioner called my attention. I said, hey guy, this is what is being written against you. The police commissioner read it, the assistant commissioner. And I saw his letterhead with my executives. Some of my executives, secretary, the assistant secretary, and the guy from Umbede, called the Aqua Christ. So to that extent, he stabbed us at the back. To that extent, you know what I mean? When somebody is saying that you are a criminal, that you breed criminals, and that if you have an access to have a meeting, that the town will burn. Equivalent of 30 man. The pursuit. What does he need? What does he need to have those extraordinary powers? To you who down? Nah. In our balance. That is the dichotomy of the town. And the elites that knew the activities of those 30 men those years vehemently said no. And when I say the elites, from Senator Anosike, Medochie, Charlie Dubon, name who? Employers of labor, builders of churches, like him. Then he brought in these charlatans, and they came insulting everybody at the panel, Justice, is it Ubog or something panel? One man from Nibu, retired judge. So these are the things that has torn this town apart. We have more divisions. Some are now pro Umuatualu. Some are now pro Ikenga. Some are now pro Ifite. Things that we never put in the fore. Otherwise, why should an Ikenga man make an Ifite man an Igwe? Otuacha. So that drawing back started people now thinking on their own. On the second, there will be Mbago Day. January, come 2021.
There will be Mbago Day.
Yes. But, these are, people, Afiana has a nod. Let me put it that way in Igbo balance. Afiana go nod. The election has been thwarted by him. Over and over. Last time, the commissioner called us, both of us, and said, guys, I've gotten so many calls, so many letters. When can you people have an election? I said, hey, 27th December is the usual time we'll have election.
Chief, I think we are kind of jumping the...
gun.
I think we are kind of jumping the gun.
Okay.
Because we are still talking about your tenure. As background. We said we are going to take it in two segments. Okay. First, the background, and then contemporary issues. I think the issues you are discussing fall more into that contemporary issues. So we are talking about your tenure. You rated your tenure as fair. That's in performance. And then you immediately pointed out about 5 things, which I would say were achievements and admirable achievements, right?
Yeah.
The airport, the civic center, and some other issues, which are decided achievements. If in your tenure you had recorded this kind of achievements, why did you rate your tenure as fair then?
Well, the rating is for you to do, not me. That's why I said fair, because I know I can defend fair, even at gunpoint. I can defend the word fair. There was this question they asked Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the first president. How would he like to be remembered for bringing independence to Nigeria in one of the Ajoku festivals? Yes. I happened to come from the States to Nigeria on holidays, 1982. Yes. And I was at OMUERI, and the thing was done at OMUERI. He said he would like to be remembered as a member of a team. And I like that. That's why I say fair.
Okay.
That's why I use fair.
Now, you mentioned achievements. Were there no challenges involved in your...
There were a lot of challenges. Where people were not paying their dues, but they expect the best.
You had a challenge in funding and financing. In that the people were not forthcoming in paying dues.
Their dues. Yes. Branches were not paying, just a few. Enugu will be remembered for paying their dues. Enugu branch. Lagos, 0. Port Harcourt, 0. Warri, 0. These are annual dues for you to be an UMUERI man. Because you cannot say you want to fill gullies
yes,
without an equivalent remuneration coming from you.
So in that case, how did you run? How did you
Very good. We ran UMUERI General Assembly from the part due to UMUERI General Assembly from Agwako land, Ikenga land. And when we are doing these things so that area will be occupied.
Okay, you ran the government from selling land, communal land.
And
at
Agwako. From time to time, donations from well-meaning individuals. It is the same thing that we did in burying the former Igwe Okebo the first.
Yes.
And that was burial that lasted 7 days. Never in this history.
Okay. It was funded by contributions and by sale of land,
yes,
communal land,
yes,
and things like that.
Yes.
Okay. So apart from
no contribution.
Apart from the,
let it be on record.
You did not mention the names of people that did. So mentioning who didn't.
No, mentioning who didn't is significant because when you come to economics, he has a lot of money, but not one kobo of his entered in the burial of the former Igwe. It's significant because, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Action can speak louder than voice sometimes.
But I was not involved in these things. I was not in the... Wait, just a moment. Just a moment.
Yeah.
But from the outside where I was, I think everything I've heard about the Igwe pointed to his magnanimity and philanthropy and support of the community copiously the years before his emergence as Igbe. Is that not so?
Chicken or egg question. Because when the roads are being graded, it was like destroying the roads, in fact. Because when you
He was actually destroying the roads?
I will just take it easy.
Yes.
Even if I'm making a mistake, let that mistake
No
be.
problem, no problem.
When you are grading a road with your and filling it, you are causing erosion. The next season, that area will be leached up and travel within Odabo. You will see some areas that are up, some areas that are down. So while you may enjoy the little Christmas, if you will, in quote, bonus, come next rainy season, you can't pass it.
I can understand that. Did he do some of this destructive road work during your tenure?
No. Before.
Before? He didn't do any of those grading of the roads and things during your tenure? Because when I hear good things about him,
there are a lot of good things.
Both before and after, the generality of the people see that his grading and maintenance of the road as a positive for him. This is the first time I'm hearing.
Illiteracy. I have traveled all over the world, and that is one part of education. Outside being a graduate of University of Texas at Arlington, and later masters at North Texas State University. So the way you see may not be the way I see. Okay? The things that you may glorify today may become poisonous tomorrow. Yes. You know what I mean? Yes. So those of us that can read between the lines, we are seeing those roads as being destroyed. And today many of our roads are gullied because of grading without some filling. It is true. He may not intend it to be so, but it is a fact.
Okay, you concede that he might not.
He may not have a mind to
destroy the roads.
Yes, he may not. Yeah.
So that out of his good conscience, he did what he could.
Yes.
But you are saying that the long-term result of it is destruction.
Yes.
So if those roads were in the same condition now, and somebody came out to do such palliatives,
nobody will encourage such thing. If you come, I'll sue you. I'll sue you to court. Yes. Because it is destructive.
Well, that's a new one on me. It's an angle I've not thought about because and you see this whole thing is an educational process
exercise
for me. For me, because I'm hearing things that I was not aware. I'm seeing things in a perspective that I never thought about. I think UMUERI people will have to have a say in this, whether the grading of the roads and the maintenance of the road at that time was a plus for His Majesty or a minus. Let's leave that to the people to judge. Right. But we're talking about your tenure and the things. We're talking about the achievement, the things that went right. We're talking about now the challenges that you encountered.
So that's what I was talking about.
Yes.
That we had these challenges
of funding, finance. Yes, one. So, what other area?
Well, of course, when you are in administration, there are cases that come up, that you have to pray and think for solutions to come. There are issues that will arise. But thank God, we are using the committee system, to handle issues. In fact, I will have to give you credit for calling me one day and saying, I didn't know that this committee system you set up will work.
Okay, you set up a committee system and it was innovative at the time.
It was innovative.
Innovative at that time. Yes. And then as time went on, the benefit began to show.
That's correct.
And His Majesty, for one, recognized it and complimented you.
He complimented it.
Okay.
He did.
Is that committee system still in use now in the community?
I don't know. We have an illegal government. So if they are using the same system I use, I don't know. It's just an aberration, imposed by Igwe.
It's okay. We'll come to those part of the contemporary issues that we're looking about. So what other challenges did you have in your tenure?
I can't remember, but there will always be challenges.
Would you say that the people of UMUERI were united behind you in
very much.
You did?
Very much. The election day turnout alone spoke it all. We were about 5-6 contestants. Even my brother, Nelson Udoku Anekwe, a teacher, a renowned teacher.
Yeah.
He's my brother, same kindred.
Yes.
Emagari was there, Mbago.
They were contesting for the
same post.
For the PG post. The PG post.
Yes, Apoko contested. Obiakwalo Custom contested. Then the people spoke at Our Ladies.
So in your tenure, you had the maximum support of UMUERI people. There were no divisions, there were no camps, there were no caucuses.
You cannot say that because it is divisions that make people stronger sometimes. So I cannot say, to the extent somebody is an opposition, it doesn't make that person an enemy. It is an attempt to strengthen you.
Yes.
So government without opposition is autocratic.
Okay, we'll still have a few minutes in this segment to wind it up. What would you say was the greatest challenge you faced as a PG, as somebody trying to...
The plotting of a coup by Igwe and Imoyao and Co. One of the greatest challenges, and it's still on. Okay?
Yes.
Because of the saying no by UMUERI people to that committee system, they set up a bunch of knuckleheads to come and break UMUERI General Assembly table without knowing the significance. It is the Trinity.
But that was at the tail end. This was at the very tail end of your... I would say in the last few weeks of your government.
Not the last few weeks.
The last month or the last few months?
Something that happened in April of 2019.
2019, and your tenure ended when?
December.
So it's still the last quarter of something.
Yes.
So I was right in saying the tail end. You had 4-year tenure, and these things you are talking about and happened in the last let me say 6 months, in the last quarter, maybe in the last half year of your last year.